tickets are $25, and event organizers. Now peep this. Business is booming when Caitlin is involved. Pro-Am tickets are $25, and event organizers saw demand increase 1,200%.
They said she couldn't do it. They really stood there and said, we don't allow this. But here's the twist. Caitlin Clark, Lexi Hull, and Sophie Cunningham, they just wouldn't back down. Not this time. The WNBA commissioner. Yeah, she pushed it a little too far. After everything Caitlin's faced, the hits, the hate, the silence, the hidden truth, it's all finally spilling out. And now, the world can see this was never just about basketball. It's about control. It's about power. And it's about one person in charge who seems terrified of how much one woman can influence. So before we dive in deeper, tell me down in the comments, should Caitlin Clark have the right to play golf and grow her brand? Or is the WNBA actually standing in her way?
She played the front nine with the world number one Nelly Korda and back nine with golf icon Annika Sorenstam, the event's host. It was an honor to play the Pro-Am with Caitlin last year. The crowds were amazing, and we are excited for her to return to the Annika in November.
She played the front nine with world number one Nelly Korda, then switched to the back nine with golf legend Annika Sorenstam, the very host of the event. Last year, Annika called it an honor to share the Pro-Am with Caitlin, saying the energy from the crowd was unreal. And now, with November approaching, everyone's holding their breath because Caitlin's coming back to the Annika, and this time it feels even bigger.
Have another event and invite Caitlin to it. They're going to invite Caitlin to as many events as they possibly can because they saw what it just did for the sport of golf. And I just don't understand why the WNBA, I mean, I will never understand. I feel like they fumbled so many things this season. They weren't ready for the moment. And this just proves that you can be ready for the moment. There is
So let's uncover the Real story here. Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button because this part's wild. Reports say the WNBA commissioner actually told Caitlin Clark, asterisk, we don't allow this. Asterisk, but why? Because Caitlin agreed to play in the Annika Pro-Am golf event, a massive LPGA showcase. And get this, ticket sales for that event skyrocketed by more than 200%, all because her name was attached. Golf embraced her instantly. They saw what the WNBA seems blind to. Caitlin isn't just a player, she is the moment. But to the commissioner, that looked dangerous. A player daring to take control of her brand, reaching fans beyond basketball, stepping outside the league's shadow. That kind of power can't be managed. And behind closed doors, things got tense. Caitlin's team pushed back. It was for charity, for visibility, for all of women's sports. But insiders claim the commissioner refused. Her words? Asterisk, she doesn't represent golf. She represents the WNBA. Asterisk.
Immediate hesitancy about giving Caitlin Clark too much praise. They didn't want to give her too much praise. They didn't want to prop her up too much and forget about everyone else who came before her. Didn't want to put her on MVP ladders. Didn't want to put her as Rookie of the Year until it was so evident that they had to. There was just so many things that it felt like it was always just a little bit of a push. Like, make sure you don't do too much. We don't want to give her too much praise. We don't want to tweet about her too much. We don't want to post about her too much. We don't want to give her too much media coverage. Let's just make sure that everyone else is also happy. Like, that seemed to be the consensus for the entire WNBA.
And that's when her coach, Stephanie White, stepped in. She's leaving, Stephanie reportedly said. You can't stop her. And in that one moment, everything shifted. A head coach standing up to the most powerful figure in the league. That just doesn't happen in professional sports. But it did. The commissioner, apparently furious, threatened to penalize Caitlin for breaking so-called promotional rules. Just imagine that, punished for playing golf. This is the same player who lifted attendance, boosted sales, and revived viewership across the entire league. And now she's being punished for shining light on another sport. Fans went into meltdown. Social media blew up with questions. Why stop her from growing the game? Why silence your biggest star? Even WNBA owners reportedly began to question what was happening behind closed doors. Through it all, Caitlin stayed calm. When reporters pressed her, her silence spoke louder than words. Later, she broke it with a smile. No one can stop me from competing. I love this game. Every single one of them. No one can stop me. That line hit harder than any dunk. Stephanie White backed her publicly, saying Caitlin has every right to speak for herself and for the sport she loves. Meanwhile, the commissioner, nothing, no interviews, no statements, just silence. And then it hit like a wave. NBA icons, WNBA fans, LPGA supporters, all calling out the hypocrisy for the world to see.
I honestly just got so triggered by Caitlin Clark's golf debut, and it is no fault of hers that I got upset. It is the fault of the WNBA, because the LPGA just did everything that the WNBA should have been doing this season. They did it all correct in literally one day. So I talked about it in a previous video, how this Pro-Am event originally wasn't even going to be televised, but there were so many fans who were emailing the organization saying, how can we watch Caitlin? Can we come to the event? Can you live stream it? All of these things. And it ended up being put on television. And that was great. Fans were really excited about that. There was so much buzz online. She was trending on Twitter, all of the things. And the LPGA was promoting the crap out of this event. And they also did something really smart by pairing her up with their currently #1 golfer in the world. And her name is Nelly Korda. So there are photos of Caitlin and Nelly literally everywhere. And the LPGA was so smart in doing this because they knew that there would be so many eyeballs on Caitlin. So if they put their #1
learned anything from her, golf's hard to replicate that fast, but no, she's been incredible and she's really cool too. And somebody I've been watching and following for a while now. So it's fun to be out here and get to see an up close look at how she does things. Just so smooth and really good at what she does.
I don't know. I mean, I always just remind myself, like, I don't really care what happens. It doesn't really matter. I don't play golf for a living, and just have fun with it. Like, this isn't, super serious. Enjoy the experience, because there were so many people that would, kill.
Seriously, how can you stop players from building their own brand, yet let them get fouled on the court with no protection at all? It makes no sense. And suddenly, for all the wrong reasons, the WNBA was everywhere, trending, exploding across timelines. The headlines said it all, loud and clear. Asterisk Clark warns of WNBA control problem. Fans demand change. Asterisk.
It is, but you could just feel the energy and excitement in the room, and I thought that was what's so cool about it.
Same question.
Yeah, same answer. It was well done. No, I agree. It was, it's always fun when people from different demographics and, different industries get together and just share ideas and, just listening. And I mean, in the end of the day, there's a lot of...
You excited, honestly. I'm not a professional golfer by any means, so I think just having fun.
Then came her latest appearance, the one that truly lit the fuse on the league's PR disaster. Caitlin didn't hold back this time. She stood tall and said, asterisk, I will continue to play in places where I can inspire others. You can't stop me. Asterisk, that was the moment everything changed. A single, fearless statement from a young woman that echoed through the entire world of sports, a declaration of strength, of freedom, of purpose. You can't silence me. And here's the twist. The LPGA didn't just support her, they applauded her for it. Now think about what we just heard. Caitlin Clark. Her name isn't just about basketball greatness anymore. It's about resilience, courage, and the unstoppable fire of an athlete who refuses to be silenced. Picture this. Tickets for the Pro-Am were barely $200. But the second Caitlin agreed to play in the Annika Pro-Am golf event, ticket demand exploded by over 200%. The energy, the noise, the hype, it all centered around her. And still, despite that undeniable impact, the WNBA commissioner reportedly told her, asterisk, we don't allow this. Asterisk, imagine being told you can't grow your own brand, can't inspire fans in another sport, can't take control of your own story. And for what? Because her influence had grown bigger than anyone in that room was ready to face. Let's be honest, this isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about power. It's about control. It's about a league that behind closed doors seemed genuinely afraid of one woman brave enough to share her passion and her talent beyond the court. Caitlin stepped onto the golf course alongside world number 1 Nelly Korda on the front nine and golf legend Annika Sorenstam on the back nine. But she wasn't just playing golf. She was owning the moment, turning the course into her stage. For that brief span, fans across the globe were locked in, watching her every move. Social media erupted. Headlines flooded in. And while the world cheered, inside the league offices, pressure was mounting. Supporters tried to back her. Coaches tried to step in. It was a charity event with worldwide visibility, a chance to inspire the next generation and prove that women's sports aren't just competitions, they're movements. Then came Stephanie White, Caitlin's coach, stepping into a storm few would ever face. You can't stop her, she said. Think about that, a head coach openly defending her player against the league's top authority. Unheard of, unprecedented, revolutionary. The commissioner, reportedly furious, threatened penalties, accusing Caitlin of breaking promotional rules. Just let that sink in. An athlete who's lifted attendance, viewership, and the entire league itself being punished for playing the sport she loves most, for connecting with fans, for growing her brand, for simply being herself. That's what she was punished for. Fans went wild. Social media blew up. Even WNBA owners reportedly started questioning what was really happening behind the scenes. But Caitlin, she stayed calm, collected. When reporters asked her about it, she just smiled and said, asterisk, no one can stop me from competing. I love this game. All of them. Asterisk, that one line, so pure, so powerful, hit harder than any dunk and echoed louder than any buzzer beater. The LPGA cheered for her. NBA legends took notice. And soon, everyone began calling out the hypocrisy. How can a league let players get fouled with no protection, yet block them from growing their brand? How can you claim to support women's sports while silencing your brightest star? The LPGA did what the WNBA couldn't. They lifted her up. They promoted her, broadcasted the event, paired her with global icons, and understood her impact. And Caitlin, she did what she always does, inspired millions, connected with fans, and reminded the world that women in sports are fierce, visible, and absolutely unstoppable. So now the question is, should Caitlin Clark really be punished for doing what she loves? Should she face fines for stepping beyond the WNBA's shadow? Or should the commissioner be held accountable for trying to hold her back? Because this isn't just Caitlin's moment. It's a moment for every woman in sports who's ever been told, you can't. This is a call to action. Tell me in the comments, do you stand with Caitlin Clark? Should she have the freedom to play, to grow, to inspire? Or should the league's control come first? Smash that like button if you believe in her. Subscribe for more stories that uncover the truth. And share this video so everyone sees what's really happening behind the curtain. Because one young woman dared to say, asterisk, you can't silence me. Asterisk, and the world heard her. Caitlin Clark isn't just an athlete. She's a movement. Her story isn't about basketball or golf. It's about courage, power, and breaking the barriers that try to contain greatness. So let's keep this going. Let's celebrate her. Let's stand with her. And let's make sure no woman in sports is ever held back again.